First of all, I'm grateful to Alianza Américas for helping put this trip together to Honduras and El Salvador. But, what had the greatest impact on me was the stories. In Honduras, listening to Carlos, who was separated from his 6-year-old son, who was in some detention facility in New York City. I mean, it was heartbreaking. The United States and in El Salvador, listening to the human rights organizations talk about the harsh reality of what's happening here. But the stories are really what makes the difference. Where we get inundated with facts and figures and statistics, but sometimes I think we've lost our human ability to feel what they mean. Coming to Honduras and El Salvador, talking to real people, not just government officials, not just our embassy, but real people, that's what is moving. And those are the stories that I'm going to tell when I go back to Washington to try to convince my colleagues to help protect those Hondurans and Salvadorans who have TPS. Well, one is I want the governments of El Salvador and Honduras to fight for their people. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of Salvadorans and Hondurans in the United States who have TPS. They've been there for over 20 years. I mean, they're married, they have kids, they have, jobs and homes. To tear those families apart is unconscionable. We see what's going on at our borders with families being torn apart. And a year from now, if we don't do something, if Congress doesn't act, if this administration doesn't reverse its policy, hundreds of thousands of TPS holders will be torn apart from their families, but this time in our states, not just at the border. And I also believe that they need to focus on the internal conflicts in their own country. The enormous corruption in Honduras is having a devastating impact on that country. The human rights abuses, the abuses by security forces, the Honduran government needs to bring them under control. And in El Salvador, this country is as violent as Afghanistan. Too many people are fleeing because they're being forced into gangs, or their life is being threatened. It takes a lot to actually pack up and leave your country. So if we want to, deal with the issue of migration, let's work with these countries to help improve conditions on the ground, and that's what I expect from both the governments of Honduras and El Salvador. I end this trip feeling more passionately than ever that the United States has a moral obligation to help TPS recipients, to help these people who have been in our country for over 20 years. It's the right thing to do. It's the moral thing to do. I've always believed that if the United States stands for anything, we need to stand out loud and foursquare for human rights. To forcibly send people back to the difficult conditions in places like Honduras and El Salvador, I think betrays our values as Americans. It betrays our adherence to a high standard of human rights. And we're better than this. I've met too many families down here that have been impacted by the violence. I have too many constituents who are in my district because they have fled the violence here. We owe them better. And so when I go home, I'm going to fight like hell for these people. What people need to do, if they care about these issues, is they need to pick up the phone and call their elected officials, call their congressperson, call their senators, ask them to help provide a pathway to citizenship for Hondurans and Salvadorans who have TPS. Fight for the DACA recipients as well. You need to call your governors and your mayors and tell them to call their federal representatives in Washington and tell them how the negative impact forcing Salvadorans and Hondurans out of the United States would have on our states and our communities. We need to raise some hell. You need to be troublemakers, making good trouble. In a few years from now, we'll look back on and say, how did we ever let this happen? So I think caring people care about human rights, You need to raise your voices, and you need to be a voice for these people.